Okay, welcome to video 14. Alright, now I did make one small verbal mistake when I stated that they were trying to distance themselves, meaning the Hebrew scribes were trying to distance their history from that of Enoch, and I meant to say that of Cain. Okay, and then what they sought to do was to juggle his firstborn son Enoch in the mix of their newly created Sethite line. Now, I'm not stating that the Sethite line is not valid. It is. But what they have sought to do is to extinguish the lineage of the Hebrew patriarchs. In other words, my friends, I'm telling you that the Hebrew nation comes directly as a result of the unions of these rebel sons of God with the daughters of men. Now, do you see that? All right, and that's what they sought to confuse you with. They took his firstborn son, Enoch, who was closely related to the Watchers, spent all of his time with them. They took him and juggled him in the mix down here and put him as seventh to separate your understanding from him being connected to Cain, as is referred to as that wicked one. Okay, and the reason why Cain is that wicked seed is because I told you his father was a Nodite, and what the Nodites are those rebel sons of God from Genesis 6. So as you can see, I don't think you understand what I'm telling you at this moment, and it is a bombshell. And as I told you, it's going to relate to how the pyramids were built, why the Jews were in possession, or the early Hebrews were in possession of this early machine known as the Ark of the Covenant, why they had UFO contact, why they had so many seemingly miraculous divine encounters, and at the same time why they were so wrapped up in tradition and ritual, and why they were so wrapped up in laws, and why they even denied Christ when he came. It's all related to where they come from. Now, as I told you before, everybody are brothers and sisters in the same standing on this planet before the eyes of God. It just so happens that they have a very unique origin, but most of that origin has been bled out genetically through the ages. So we're talking about two distinct groups of people when you talk about the Jewish nation of today and the Jewish nation of the past, of which I'm talking about. So what I'm telling you, that the Jewish nation of the past comes from the lineage of these fallen ones, and that is why they have all of this UFO contact and miraculous divine encounters. They're not having encounters with God, not the one and true God, and that is why you see an evolution of deity in the early Jewish Bedouin tribes. You see an evolution from an early tribal deity, Yahweh, who is vengeful and angry, and who really only wants to destroy the sinners. And then you see an idea and an evolution of God developed to a loving God that was not only national, that loved the Jews, that began to love the whole world. So the idea of God evolved throughout the ages of the Jewish patriarchs. But the Jewish nation, the early Jewish nation, my friends, has a unique origin. Now this will tie up with why Hitler wanted to exterminate them. This is incredible information. Think about everything I've just said thus far. Think about Ezekiel in the wheel, in the UFO encounter. Think about all of this, my friends, and I'm going to explain further.